We got a couple people connecting in. Hey, everybody. Hope you're doing okay. It's 10:59 here on the West Coast. I'm not sure where everybody is, but we are going to wait just a couple minutes until we have quite a few people loading in. Just kind of like getting into the Zoom. My name is Ethan. I'm a product manager here at Box, and today we're going to talk about mostly Prime 9 drivetrains, but it does fit all of our Box drivetrains. And we're going to talk about compatibility, some of the tools that you guys would need to maybe do some service. If you guys have any questions at all, please type them into chat, and I'll definitely answer them. These webinars are really tailored to help answer questions that you have. And we get lots of questions every week about, hey, I have this bike, I want to put your parts on it. What do I need? So I hope to answer some of those questions today. So again, if you have any questions for me, please type them into chat, and I will do my best to open them. And where's my chat? There's my chat. But yeah, I hope you guys are all doing well. We're gonna probably kick this off 5 minutes or so past the hour, just to wait for some more people to join in. If you guys would like to follow along, on our website, boxcomponents.com/service. If you're on a desktop, you can go visit that. That's got a bunch of the, our service information, and that's really where most of the content that we'll be talking about today that comes from. Hey, you guys that just joined in, Paul. What's up, Paul? And Will. Hope you guys are doing well. For those of you who just joined us, we're going to wait just a couple more minutes here until a couple more people join in. We usually kick these off 5 minutes after the hour for those late joiners. But if you look in your chat, Chloe just sent out our Box service page. It's got a bunch of the content on it that we're going to review today if you want it as a reference. I will be sharing my screen so you guys can kind of see what's going on. I think that will be really helpful to a lot of you. Some of this information is common sense. A lot of it is not specific to Box components at all. It is maybe universal for other drivetrains. So even if you don't have a Box drivetrain, I think some of it would be, just good knowledge to have. And, my background before I worked here at Box, which I've been here about 5 years, I worked in a bike shop for 15 years, fixing all different types of stuff. So, you luckily been exposed to lots of weird combinations of products and stuff that should not work together that does, and stuff that should work together that doesn't. And for various reasons allows, maybe me to help explain to you guys a lot of these, these issues that we have. But I hope everybody's doing well, being safe out there. We were out on the trail this morning doing some filming. I am literally just below, covered in dirt from sitting trailside taking videos, but saw a lot of people out riding, a lot of people out running. Most people were not wearing masks, which I don't really think you need to do if you're riding bikes, but do not take advice from me. We were out there wearing masks and just trying to get some cool clips for an upcoming launch. I will tell you guys, on September 2nd, we will have a big product announcement, and you guys should stay tuned for that. We'll have some information going out via email. If you signed up for this webinar with your email address, you'll definitely get an invitation to our product launch. I won't say exactly what it is yet, but some of you I'm sure know. And it's really exciting, something I've been working on for over 2 years here. And I think that, you guys will be really stoked for you to join in with us. Have 2 people loading in, and then we're just going to kind of like jump into some of the stuff here. Again, for those of you who just joined, my name is Ethan. I'm a product manager here at Box. I do a lot of the R&D, some design work, a lot of prototyping, a lot of test riding, a lot of breaking stuff and then fixing it and breaking it again and trying to make it better. If you guys have questions for me about any of our drivetrains and compatibility, please type them into chat and I'll do my best to answer them. We're going to go through some preliminary, baseline information to start with, and then we'll kind of get into some deeper tech stuff. And let's see. William has a good question. Do you know when the Box 1 Prime 9 XY multi-ship group set will be back in stock? I don't actually know. I know we're waiting on, we had to make a revision to the cassettes. So our Box 1 cassettes are, machined out of one piece of tool steel. And that's not my project, so I'm not super in tune with it. I think around the beginning of the year is when we were supposed to have them, but I might be wrong about that. I will say it's very difficult to make a cassette out of one piece of steel and have it have like really good performance and durability. And what we were seeing was under some really high load, especially on e-bikes, there was some skipping with our first ones that we shipped out. So we gave all those people refunds. We got the cassettes back. We sent them box 2 cassettes if they wanted, or if they wanted a full refund on their drivetrain. So just to give you guys some insight on that, we did have some performance issues, and just like any new product, we do a lot of testing here, but different bikes have different variables or issues that, translate to product, and we do our best to, test on as many bikes as possible and in as many situations as possible. But as a lot of the terrain and the types of, riding that we see here in Southern California are different than Florida, where it's super flat, or we have a big distributor, More Large in the UK, who's awesome, but it rains there all the time, so their stuff just gets hammered, and it's not just our drivetrains, it's all of them. So it's a great question, William. We will send out emails when that stuff is available. I think around the end of the year we'll probably see it, and kind of to piggyback on a lot of that, we do have and it's not just us, it's a lot of brands too, delays because of COVID. A lot of our product actually gets here via air, and when there's not as many passenger flights, there are, passenger planes actually carry a lot of cargo, not just for luggage. And a lot of our product through TNT or DHL that's shipped overseas, goes onto a passenger plane. And there's not as many flights, so those shipping rates are really high. They're backed up. So we do have quite a bit of delays, but send us an email, William. We'll make sure you get hooked up and let you know exactly when that stuff comes back in stock. So thank you guys for joining us. I'm going to jump into it. I'm actually going to share my screen. I hope everybody can see it. Let's see, share screen. Boom. Okay, I think you all can see my screen now. Just make sure here. Give me 1 second. So if you go to our website, and actually we sent this link out in chat, it's boxcomponents.com/service. And it's actually under the support tab. So if you just go to boxcomponents.com, which you see up here, and then you go to support and service, you can see a bunch of our technical information and service information. Any questions you guys have about product, is mostly found in here. There are lots of instances where the videos that we've created or the manuals we created maybe don't cover a question that you have. That's why we do these webinars. So if you do have a question, please type it into chat. If you have issues setting up your drivetrain, any performance issues at all, you have questions about, comments, things that you want us to address on this page, please let me know and I'll do my best to put it up here. So we do have some installation videos. Our box 1 and 2 drivetrains pretty much have the same installation process. Now this one's specific to Prime 9, but it will also cover an 11-speed drivetrain. We have not done too much 11-speed content because we're really focused on Prime 9, and that's where a lot of our questions are. That's where a lot of you are really interested in. So this should cover most of box 1 and 2 questions. our second video here is for box 3. Now, our box 3 drivetrains and box 4 drivetrains are very similar, even though one's 9-speed and one's 8-speed. Most of what's in here will cover what's in box 4, but we do have a box 4 video that should launch next week. Most of this has, tips and tricks in it for setting up your drivetrain specific to, this configuration. Again, like we were talking about, there's so many different bikes out there, and it's hard to make a manual or an installation video that covers everybody. So some of it's kind of generic. Again, if you guys have questions, please let me know. And then down here is a very important section that we have. So product instructions and compatibility manual. This is really a lot of what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about some tools. We do get a lot of questions on tools and stuff. Why won't my chat come up? Let's see. I think Chloe might have to send me some of those messages in chat. Yeah, so all of our manuals are down here. My background before working here, I worked in a bike shop. I still build a lot of wheels on Instagram. If you guys want to follow me, although I don't really post very much, it's @handbuiltwheels. If you guys have questions, you can reach out to me there as well. My, some of the wheel stuff is on here for our BMX stuff. We will have some updates to that soon. But yeah, hub measurements, rim ERDs, not really specific to drivetrains, but all of our real technical information is down here if you wanted to check it out. So we're going to check out this drivetrain compatibility manual, and I actually already have it open. If you guys wanted to open it and follow along, you could. This is just a Google Doc. Easy for you guys to view. If you wanted to print it out, you could. It's pretty lo-fi, but it allows me to make some updates to it. So it's not like a PDF that's like concreted forever. So as time goes on, as you guys ask me good questions, I do my best to update, stuff in here. So we're just going to go through some very basic stuff. This is pretty cut and dry, and I've gone over it in a couple other videos. The type of gear cable you want to use. So 95% of gear cables are your standard inline barrel head. This is what you want to use in a shifter. You cannot use a brake cable, obviously. I've seen people try. It doesn't work. And the Campagnola style, which is a smaller barrel, as you can see, will not work. You don't want to use that. This is pretty simple to understand. These cables are actually really expensive, so you don't want to buy these anyway. Most places don't have those for sale. Cable housing. 4mm compressionless housing is like the standard. And you can really tell it looks a little bit thinner than like a brake cable housing. But it's got to be compressionless. And what I'll say about both the inner cable and the housing are that you want to have good quality cable housing and an inner cable, regardless of what, what kind of bike you have, what came on it, what drivetrain you have. Even if you don't have one of our drivetrains, this is a super easy way to get better shift performance. I can't tell you how many times I've seen someone bring me a bike at a bike shop where they're like, hey, I just put some parts on my bike and it doesn't work great. And so many of the times it's coming from housing that's filled with water or junk and dust. And, what happens is you'll shift towards the bigger gears on the cassette. I think I have a cassette around here. Shift towards the larger size gears, the low gears on the cassette, and you'll be fine. But then when you go to shift towards the high or the smaller gears, it doesn't want to shift properly. And a lot of the times that's just because there's so much resistance in between the inner cable and the housing that it literally, the derailleur cannot pull the chain down to the next gear. So we will have cable housing and inner cables available as both just an inner cable and a kit together. Those should be available soon. We haven't had that stuff available. We actually used to sell gear cables by themselves, and we never sold housing. it took a long time to make some housing that was, you know, acceptable for our standards and not ridiculously expensive. So that's something that should be available from us shortly. My suggestion right now is Shimano SP41 housing is really good. You know, I have no problem with their, you know, saying Shimano housing works really well with our systems, because it's pretty much available in any bike shop. You can find it online relatively easy. It's relatively inexpensive, especially when you compare it to like, I think Jaguar Pro and Elite housings are like 40 or 50 bucks for housing. To me, I'm cheap. That's a lot of money. Yes, they work really well, but all things considered, I don't think they work better. So Shimano SP41 is really good place to start. But yeah, so there's some compatibility for housings. You really don't want to use brake housing. It just won't work right. This is huge. We get tons and tons of questions about cassette compatibility. There are 3 main styles of the splines that are on a freehub body, or what your gears actually slide onto on the rear wheel. You have your Shimano HG spline. You have a SRAM, which is XD. You'll see this on SRAM 11 speed or Eagle. And then you have micro spline, which is Shimano 12 speed. Ours are compatible with HG. So this has these big fat splines. This is the most common freehub body in any bike. So pretty much if you had a bike that came with XD or micro spline, the chances are that whoever made that wheel or bike has the option also for an HG. Now, most bikes have HG on it, and that just makes it easier for you guys to buy one of our cassettes and slide it right on. Now, if you go back in time and history, you have, you know, Shimano's made drivetrains for decades and decades. And I believe 8-speed came out in like 1992. And that's when they started using this 34.95 length of spline on their freehub bodies. So not every wheel that is that old is going to fit one of our cassettes, but they basically started using this standard for, you know, 3 decades ago almost. And it's really easy to find wheels that have this stuff on it. And it kind of brings us to our next point, which you'll see, especially on newer gravel bikes, excuse me, sometimes they have an 11-speed road freehub body. And you can see here, this is 36.75 millimeters. I'm dying. Basically, it's just a longer length of spline because the 11-speed road cassettes are actually, they have a longer distance between the front gear and the back gear, as where the 11-speed mountain bike stuff does not. Now, we are compatible with this, and we do on our website sell a 1.8 millimeter spacer to eat up this extra gap. So if you did have a gravel bike that you wanted to put this on, and we make a 31.8 millimeter, I don't have it right here, shifter clamp, because all box shifter clamps just come off, and we make a bunch of different ones. We make one for Shimano, one for SRAM, and then one that actually fits on the drop bar next to the stem. So if you had a gravel bike that you wanted to, you know, do something like that on, you totally could. And we sell a spacer. If you ran into this issue on another one that didn't say 11-speed road on it, which I have seen from some brands, they don't label their products accordingly all the time. You know, what would happen is you go to tighten the cassette down, and what happens is the cassettes are still loose on the freehub body, even when it's completely tightened. And there's really not too much else to do other than to put a spacer behind the cassette so that the clamp force of the lock ring compresses the gears together so that they don't jiggle. Now, all cassettes have some radial slop in it. so that they clear the gears correctly. Some cassettes have more than others, and if you look at cheaper cassettes from other brands, you'll see they have more, and the nicer ones with the nice aluminum spiders have less. But for the most part, they're designed to fit on any. Now, that part really doesn't matter. The slop this way doesn't matter. But if you were to jiggle a gear, and that's really going to cause a lot of shift performance issues. And we see that there's a couple brands out there that really, they don't use this standard, and they don't use this standard. They're somewhere in between here. And what happens is you put one of our cassettes on there, freehub body, you tighten it up all the way, it jiggles still a little bit, and it's not quite enough for this 1.8 millimeter spacer. That would be too much of a space in there. And what happens is you go to shift gears, and instead of the chain jumping over to the next gear, it actually just jiggles the gear around, and you'll see sloppy shifting from that. But this really, I think, helps explain the different types of freehub body styles. You need an HG 9, 10, 11 mountain bike freehub body, and not HD, not 8XD or microspline. And you'll need, if you wanted to measure it with like a set of calipers, or a ruler that's got a nice gauge on it. If it's around 35 millimeters, you're good to go. Again, this is the most common freehub body on bikes today. It's been around for decades. That's why we chose it, because we want it to be easy for you guys. Now, we'll talk a little bit about some tools. I pulled a couple tools out here. So this is just a standard, this is a box 3 lock ring. I think you guys can see this. And this uses the most common style. SRAM, Shimano use this. Sunrace cassettes use this. I think all of the microshift cassettes use this as well. And it's just a standard spline pattern for a cassette lock ring tool. My recommendation is Park Tool FR 5.2. That's not this one. This is just one I had in my toolbox. But super cheap. I want to say they're like $10. And you could go to their website and buy them. You could go on Amazon and buy them. We will actually have a small light duty home toolkit where it would include this chain whip, master link pliers, chain breaker. I think it'll be around $40. We'll have that pretty soon too. So if you wanted to buy a drivetrain or just have a toolkit that was compatible with all of our stuff. But if you wanted the good shop use tool, Park Tool makes a bunch of stuff that's relatively inexpensive and really good quality. So yeah, that's one tool. And then cassette chain whip. So if you wanted to remove your cassette, you need something to lock the gears in place and keep them from spinning, so that you can use this tool in the lock ring to spin it the other way so that the lock ring comes off. Otherwise, you would just be rotating the cassette backwards, like if you were pedaling backwards. So you need something to hold that in place while you crack that lock ring loose. Really standard tool. Park Tool SR 12.2, I think is the one I have on here. That's the most common. These can be kind of expensive. There are a lot of other options out there. This is one that I think this is an SR1. This is a single speed one because we do a lot of BMX stuff here at Box too. But this one works as well. I would not recommend this. I would recommend the 12.2 is got the skinnier chain on it for 12 speed. This works on Prime 9 because it's a single speed chain. 9 speed fits a single speed chain. But the 12.2 will fit anything. Doesn't matter what drivetrain you have. You want to work on a friend's bike, that one will fit. You want to take a 3/32 single speed cog off like this, off a BMX wheel or fixed gear wheel, you could do that as well. An 1/8 inch chain whip will not work. You want to avoid those. 1/8 inch is like the fatter BMX chains for single speed stuff. Yeah, here's another one. Here's another style of chain whip. This one is super cheap. You can find these on Amazon for like $7 or $8. Again, this one's lighter duty. It's got a cheap chain on it. It gets the job done. Derailleur compatibility. Okay, so this is a great question too, and I'm going to go in depth into this because we get a lot of questions. There are two styles of derailleur hangers. There is the one that comes on 99+% of bikes. And then there is the one that is a newer standard that's becoming more popular. For the most part, the traditional derailleur hanger is what comes on every bike. And if it did not, you can go to your manufacturer. Like I have a Giant Anthem that had a direct mount hanger on it when I bought it. You can go to Giant and get a traditional derailleur hanger for that bike. Now, it's pretty easy to tell which one you have. They look different. The yellow piece here is the derailleur hanger. So you can see the, in my opinion, the best way to tell is the traditional hanger sits below the axle and not too far behind. A direct mount hanger sits pretty far back, and you can just see the difference here. It's much larger. It pushes the derailleur back. And these are only compatible with some Shimano derailleurs. Now, if you have a question about this and you're trying to figure out on your bike which derailleur hanger you have and if you're compatible with box, the first thing I would do is, take a look at your bike visually. What does it look like? Does it look like one of these? It might be kind of hard to tell, or you really can't tell. That's okay. So if you have a SRAM derailleur on your bike, you are compatible because SRAM does not make a direct mount derailleur hanger. And any derailleur that fits a direct mount derailleur hanger. So if you have a SRAM derailleur, you're in the clear. You're gonna pull that thing off. You can put our Drivetrain right on there. If you have a Shimano derailleur with a B-link, so the B-link is this little piece right here. It's the green piece. You are compatible. Now there is a small exception to this. The less expensive Shimano derailleurs do not really have a B-link on them. They just mount directly to the hanger, and that can be kind of confusing. But if you have a Shimano 7 or 8 speed, cheaper drivetrain, it might not have this technology because they just reduce the number of parts to keep it cheap. But if you have a nicer, say 9, 10, or 11 speed Shimano drivetrain, and you have the B-link, which is this little dog bone looking thing here, you'll be okay. Now, if you don't, you have a Shimano derailleur that doesn't have a B-link, it's a nicer derailleur, you're probably not compatible with that hanger. But again, you go to your bike brand dealer, or you give your bike brand a call if they don't have dealers near you. I guarantee you can get a derailleur hanger for that. Now, they might not have it in stock, might have to go to a good place. And a resource that I used before is Wheels Manufacturing, is a company that makes derailleur hangers for virtually every modern bike. And you could find one there if you can't find it from your manufacturer. But if you have a bigger bike brand, Giant, Trek, Specialized, Cannondale, all of those have really good resources that will mostly state if it is or is not a direct mount hanger. So the other thing is, if you had a question and you just took a picture of it and sent it to me, I'll answer your email like that. It's ethan@boxcomponents.com. We do get a lot of questions about this. I do my best to answer it. And, I think this chart for the most part answers it. It might be a little confusing. And I might make a video specific for this question if we get enough people asking. For the most part, though, I think that what I just said answers a lot of it. Visually look at it. If it's big and it pushes the derailleur back far, then you need a different derailleur hanger. If it looks like where the derailleur mounts to the hanger is directly below the axle, or pretty close to below the axle, you probably have a traditional hanger to be good. Chain compatibility. We actually I think we just put them up on our website. We have quick links available for Prime 9. So I might change this up a little bit and recommend that you buy our quick links because I know they work perfect with our chain. But you could put any 9-speed quick link on our chain and it will work. There are some that work better than others. There are some that are more expensive or cheaper than others. In our kits, I believe they're $7 or $8, and they actually include 2 sets of connecting links. So one's black and one's silver, and that basically covers both box 1 and box 2. What I do is I'll take, I always take an extra quick link with me, and I actually tape it to the brake hose of my rear brake, right pretty close to my frame. And just in case I needed one on a ride or a friend breaks something, you know, you could just throw that thing on there. We are not compatible with an 11-speed quick link. It's just going to be too narrow. You're not going to get them to snap together. And the same thing goes with 10, 11, or 12-speed quick links will not work. They're not compatible. And if you've ever seen like older BMX bikes, they have this funky, you know, clip that goes on the outside. And this is really for a single speed only connecting link. We're not compatible with those as well. But if it says 9S on the outside of it, for the most part, you'll be okay. I think this one in the pictures from KMC, Shimano, SRAM, a bunch of brands make them. You find unbranded ones. The ones that we make are tested and work really well with our chains and come in colors that match. So you don't have to have one funky colored link in your chain if you don't want. So keep an eye out for those. That's a new product. Chain breaker. Virtually any chain breaker that works with a 9-speed chain will work. For the most part, that's almost every chain breaker. There are some 12-speed specific chain breakers out there. There are some really junky, you know, single-speed specific chain breakers out there. They're pretty rare, but for the most part, any box chain will work with almost any chain breaker. 11-speed, you know, our 7-speed drivetrains use an 11-speed chain, and then our Prime 9 drivetrains use 9-speed chain. So this one's made by Pedros. Pedros has usually got yellow color. The park tool is the CT 3.2. That's a shop use one. I have one in my home shop that I think is like 9 or 10 years old. And I've broken literally hundreds and hundreds of chains with it. I think they're $40. It's totally worth it to have a tool like that. I do have a little kind of dinky one that I use, and I put in my trail pack. It's not this one. This is likely the one that will come with our little toolkit. This is a cheaper, you know, really cheap. Get it done at home, use it a couple times, throw it in a toolbox and have it. This is not really a professional shop use tool. That's why we have, you know, I think this one's like $65 or something like that. And then, you know, these like come apart and pack down nice. So if you wanted to, you know, put these in a like nice toolbox or something, you could. But yeah, CT 3.2, very common, easy to find. If you have a bike shop near you, local bike shop, I'm sure they have something like that in stock. Also Amazon, eBay, you know, wherever you want it. But yes, if it's compatible with a 9-speed chain, which they should specify, you'll be able to break a Prime 9 chain and cut it to length and set it up on your bike. Connecting link tool. This is more for removal than installation, but it does help with installation. For the most part, any master link or, you know, connecting link plier will work. These are super useful. On the side of the trail, because I don't have one of these with my pack, I've actually used a shoelace, and you wrap it through both links and you can pull it together and it'll pop the link, and then you can pull the link off your bike if you had a chain failure or, you know, you needed to cut a bad link out of there and, you know, fix that, you could. I don't really carry one of these with me trailside. I've only had to use the shoelace trick twice. And for the most part, it works. If you have ratchets or Velcro on your riding shoes and you don't have a shoelace, you know, I found various things on the side of the trail too that would probably work. But yeah, any connecting link or master link plier will work. Basically, when you go to remove the link, you put this in between the two links, you squeeze together, pops them off, makes it easy to take off your chain, clean it. If you want to clean your cassette too, you could do that. Good tool to have. This is the one that will come in our kit, our toolkit. So I think you can find those on Amazon by themselves for about $10. The Park Tool MLP 1.2 is a really good tool to have. I think I have 2 or 3 of them at home. I use them all the time. Taking chains off and cleaning them is pretty easy. Chain rings. This is another one that we get a lot of questions on. I thought I had a chain ring right here, but I don't. We have a lot of questions about this. We do use standard 9-speed chain thickness, and our cassettes use standard 9-speed chain spacing. And it's a question we get a lot. Yes, you could use a Shimano 9-speed chain. Now, the issue is Shimano 9-speed chains come, and SRAM come, I think it's 114 or 116 links. So the length of the chain is defined by the number of links that are in that chain. Now, our chains come 126 links, and that's because most of our Prime 9 drivetrains are 1150 in their range. So if you were to go and take 114 or 116 length chain and try to put it on a 29er or any modern full suspension mountain bike, that chain is just going to be too narrow. It will shift perfect. It will, physically work between the gears. But when you go to get into the lowest or largest gear, there's not going to be enough chain there to make it actually work. So that's why I really recommend our chains. And yeah, if you needed to in a pinch and you couldn't find one of our chains, you could put 2 Shimano chains together, 2 SRAM chains that were 9-speed together, and it would work. But one of the main revisions we did to our chains is we made the inside where the actual, the teeth of the chainring would touch is the inside of the chain, not the outside. We made that narrower to work with a 9, 10, or 11-speed narrow wide chainring. So if you got a wolf tooth 11-speed narrow wide chainring like what's pictured here, or Absolute Black, 1-Up, Pro Mag, Race Face works really well as well. Those are all compatible, super easy to find. We didn't want to have to make a specific chainring for this. We wanted you guys to just be able to throw, our chain on there, not having to drop chains. So the inside dimensions of our chains are actually tailored for, 10 or 11-speed narrow wides. So you guys have a lot of options as to what cranks you want to run, what chain rings you want to run. That makes it easy. We are not compatible with the 12-speed specific narrow wide chainring. Now, if you look at technical information from our competitors, so SRAM and Shimano say only SRAM Eagle chains are going to work on a SRAM Eagle chainring, and Shimano says the same thing about their 12-speed stuff. Our 9-speed actually does fit on their chainrings. The problem is you're going to see more drop chains because the teeth are narrow, and you're going to hear a lot of noise. And if you look on this, it's kind of hard to see here. Maybe I can zoom in just a little bit to these grainy pictures here. But if you look on this is actually a SRAM Eagle chainring. See how they are like, the teeth are not straight up. They kind of have like a little hook to them. This actually makes a lot of noise. And our chains and some other 11 speed chains and even 10-speed chains don't really like to play with them. So again, I really recommend a non-12-speed specific chainring, and it has to be a wide, narrow wide chainring. It can't be a single-speed chainring. Can't just take off say you had a 2x setup and you wanted to just take off the baby gear. It would result in a lot of drop chains because it doesn't have that wide, narrow pattern. So again, you want to look for Wolf Tooth, 1-Up, Absolute Black, Race Face, Chromag. There's a bunch of other brands that are really good. 12-speed specific Shimano SRAM chainrings are, we haven't tested really well with them. They have repeatedly shown lots of noise, excess chain wear, lots of drop chains. And then I think MRP and Praxis use what they call wave technology, is basically where like one tooth is pointed this way and then another tooth is kind of pointed this way. Those really don't work very well with our chains either. In my opinion, I've had, not just with our chains or our drivetrains, I've had problems with those chain rings with other brands, drivetrains, drop-in chains. The teeth are pretty thin, so they can bend kind of easy. You want to avoid a non-narrow wide chain rings, and a 2 or 3 bispecific chain ring. You just pull the 2 chain rings off and you have the middle one left there. That's not really a a 1 by chain ring. It needs a front derailleur there to hold the chain onto that chain ring. So if you remove the front derailleur, you remove the 2 other gears off there, and you just have that middle ring on your 3 by, and you put our drivetrain on there, it's not going to work well. So I think that answers most of these questions. Crankset compatibility is not a huge deal, but I did try to answer some questions here. You can find chain rings that fit pretty much any crankset. There are some really weird OEM or standard bike cranksets out there that have some strange mounting situation, but for the most part, you will find a chain ring compatible with a Prime 9 or 11-speed box drivetrain from most manufacturers. So again, Race Face, Chromag, Wolf Tooth, Absolute Black, all have chain rings that fit these options. We sell on our website Wolf Tooth, and I think they have a really good website themselves. If you wanted to buy directly from them for your crankset, I would suggest you do that, because they have a lot of information on their website about their chain rings and what cranks they fit, and you can really find out what cranks their product is designed for. Now, that's their product. We don't design it. They do a great job, and we've done some testing with them, and that's one of the better chain rings we found for our configurations. But again, my suggestion is to kind of look what setup you have. Is there 4 bolts there? Is there 2 gears? In this case, you could just unbolt those 4, unbolt the 4 that hold the baby gear on, take both chain rings off, put a narrow wide Wolf Tooth chain ring on there, and it would work beautifully. And we've done that for a lot of people, converted old 2 and 3 by chain configurations to like a box 1 by setup. And yeah, pretty cheap too. Those chain rings are not that expensive. I think Race Face makes some steel chain rings that are like 25 or 35 bucks. A really good upgrade. Get rid of the front shifter, front derailleur, your chain rings, all the mess that's got with 1 by or with a 3 or 2 by drivetrain, and go 1 by is a really good upgrade for a lot of old bikes, especially now because again, like I worked at a bike shop, I still help out there sometimes. It's hard to get new bikes. So a lot of people are fixing old bikes, and it's really easy to take one of our drivetrains, because we sell it in a kit. If you go to our website, you go products, and you go down to Prime 9 here, you can actually see we sell these in prepackaged group sets. We're out of stock for some stuff, but we do have box 3 Prime 9 wide, which is our 1146 group set. And then we do have our box 1/2 Prime 9 X wide multi-ship group set. And that one basically is a full box 1 drivetrain, but it has a box 2 cassette because of some of the issues I talked about earlier with the box 1 cassettes. So if you wanted to get a full box 1 drivetrain, this would be your best option right now. And yeah, something like this is really easy. You add a chain ring to this, and again, it's pretty much compatible with any bike. We really don't have too many issues with performance once you get past some of the compatibility questions, and that's really what I tried to answer today. So if you guys have questions, please type it into chat, and let me know what's going on, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. Again, my email address is ethan@boxcomponents.com, ETHAN. And you guys send me an email. I'll do my best to answer them. I do have a question here from Chris. Any videos on a box 3 group set troubleshooting shifting issues? I don't have a video specific for troubleshooting issues, but we do have, if you go to our service page, so boxcomponents.com, support tab here, and you click on service, there is a video specific to box 3 right here, where you can see me, you know, and hear me talk about our drivetrains more there. That one will also cover most of what box 4 is. We will have a box 4 video shortly. And I think Chloe actually uploaded a previous webinar that I did where I actually did some fine tuning and troubleshooting guide, if you may. That was one of these webinars. And I think that's on our YouTube page. So let's take a look, because I don't know. I should know these things. If you haven't visited this, yeah, here it is. So this one is a good video where you see my stupid face. And I go through and I talk about a lot of the common issues that people who are maybe new to adjusting drivetrains, you know, you can come here and see, you know, on this bike, here's a box 3 drivetrain. So this would help you, Chris, if you had any questions. And if you watch this, you know, this is our full webinar. These are usually an hour. We do them bi-weekly for mountain bike stuff. So every other Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, you know, I do these webinars. So this one's a full hour long. So you might have to fast forward through a good majority of it to find the part that you're looking for. But I think for, you know, the most part, we've gotten pretty positive response on, you know, not a lot of people watch these, but yeah, check it out. Check out our YouTube page. We're trying to put more tech stuff up there, more cool videos. If you guys do have questions about videos that you want to see, please let me know, and I'll do my best to answer them. But I think that's all the questions I have. Let's see. I think Chloe's going to put up a poll in a second. Oh, and she's going to send you guys in chat a bunch of links to these videos, which I think is super helpful. Now there's a poll up on the screen. Let's see here, if you guys want to do, oh, that's massive. I would appreciate any information you guys can give us. I just want to do a better job and be able to give you guys more information without you guys telling me what you think. You know, it's kind of hard. So what time do you prefer our live webinars? You know, we started doing these because everybody was stuck at home because of COVID. So we really, you know, we're capitalizing off of a lot of people being at home. Now that a lot of places have opened back up, people are back at work. I'm not so sure what time works best for everybody. And I don't really know what our plan is for the future. We really are going to keep these webinars. You know, I think that these are helpful. I've gotten a lot of positive comments on it, but you know, if you guys think that I'm not covering something, you know, please let me know, because it's really easy for me to answer your questions if you tell me what they are. So if you had any questions about today's video, please you know, type it into chat. Let me know. I'll answer it right now. And then if not, again, my email address is ethan@boxcomponents.com. On September 2nd, we will have a very big product launch. So, you know, please stay tuned for that. I'm not sure if we're doing a giveaway in that one. Sometimes we do giveaways in these webinars just to, you know, get you guys to be entertained. Let's see. Chloe's telling me right now, we'll do some type of giveaway. If there's stuff that you want to see us give away, you know, please let us know. Obviously, everybody wants expensive drivetrains. But it might be smaller parts like grips or t-shirts. I think that's something that we'll do more regularly. It's hard for us to give away a lot of expensive product all the time, but in a couple we had Vinny T, who's ridden in Red Bull Rampage, And when he was visiting, I allowed us to interview him. I gave away a drivetrain, and then I think we did the same with Kevin at Steady Spin. On one of our videos where I installed a box for drivetrain from scratch, we gave away a box for drivetrain. But yeah, if you guys could answer these questions, I think most of you have. That really helps us. Technical information, cool. New product updates, that's great too. We will do more of those. Giveaways, yeah, we like giveaways too. Talk to a box athlete. Yeah, like I just said, we had Vinny T and Steady Spin. It'd be cool if we had some other people to that you'd want us to interview. I would love to talk to more people. I kind of don't like talking to myself for an hour, so talking to someone else is definitely more fun for me. But let's see here. Pink bike rumor. Yeah, makes sense. Does the weight of your mountain bike really matter? Absolutely does. Prefer something more durable and longer lasting. Yeah, I'm somewhere in between, I think. Obviously, when I started riding mountain bikes, 40-pound bike was not rare. And I think nowadays it is rare to see a 40-pound bike, especially with some long travel on it. Mid 30s, low 30s, yeah, it's pretty common. Something sub 30 for a full suspension, enduro bike is pretty, not rare, pretty expensive. And again, like I said, I'm kind of cheap. I like riding stuff that's set it and forget it. I don't have to worry about it breaking. I don't have to adjust it all the time. No one is paying me to work on my own bike as a bike mechanic. So, I don't want to fix my own bike. I just want to go ride it. And for one of the reasons that is one of the reasons that we kind of came up with Prime 9, because kind of just set it and forget it and, throw it on a bike and it works. But let's see. Oh, Craig is asking, I know, Craig wants an autographed picture of me. He's too funny. I'll send you a picture, Craig, and I'll sign it for you. Too funny, man. Yeah, again, if you guys have any questions for me, even if it's for like, product development questions, stuff that's coming out in the future, we really don't talk about too much, but if you had suggestions of stuff that you guys would like to see, see us make, we did, when I first started here, we were making a lot of products, and then we kind of focused just on making drivetrain. If you look at our BMX lineup, we actually make everything for a BMX bike except for a chain and a frame and tubes. We don't make tubes, but all the other parts on a BMX bike we make. So when we started making mountain bike stuff, we actually wanted to do the same thing, and it's very difficult on the BMX side without gears. And if you look at a BMX bike, it's very simple. There's no suspension, there's no gears. It's very simple. On a mountain bike side, it's hard, and there's a lot of different standards. So we actually have prototype brakes that we made that worked really good, but were ridiculously expensive. So we kind of cut that project, and we made cranks, which we'll probably revisit sometime in the next couple of years. And we made handlebars and stems, which we discontinued because I think it's hard. There's so many other brands that make some of these products really well, and it's hard for us to do something different. With Prime 9, we were able to do something different. Like nobody really offered. I think we launched Prime 9 before Microshift had their 1142 9-speed, and we're trying to make something different. So if you guys have different product ideas and some cool stuff that you'd like to see us make, please let us know. I appreciate you guys joining us today, and filling out all of these questions really do help us, because it's we want to make cool stuff for you. And just like I said, I was out on a trail filming this morning, so pretty much everybody here rides, and we're mountain bikers too, and I guess some of us ride BMX bikes, but I don't anymore because my knees are shot. But yeah, give us ideas. Tell us what you want to see. Cool product ideas are really helpful to us. And I think that's pretty much it for today. I definitely appreciate you guys joining us. Oh, one more thing. If you sign up for our webinars like this one, you'll automatically be signed up to receive our email newsletter and our product launch updates. So you will get an email about what this product launch on September 2nd will be. I definitely would say keep your eyes open for that because it's super cool. Again, I don't want to spoil it. It's something I've been working on for about 2 years. And it's not a drivetrain part, I'll give you that much. But yeah, tell your friends to sign up for these webinars, especially if they have questions about box stuff. And I think that's it. Really appreciate you guys joining us today. And again, Ethan@boxcomponents.com. Send me an email, even if it's just to say hi. If you thought this was a terrible webinar and I didn't answer any of your questions, send me an email and tell me, and I'll answer them in the email. I'm stuck here, so not really going out doing anything. Just riding bikes and trying to make cool products. So until next time, you guys go have a good day and hopefully go ride some bikes. I will talk to you guys next week.